can remember even way before I began to use drugs and alcohol, and way before unhealthy relationships, you know, I had my blankie. You know, and that was my sense of warmth and love, and, you know, just holding on to my blanket, and I would take that everywhere with me. Everywhere I would take that blanket. And when I say everywhere, not a big old blanket and then carrying it outside, but I remember even cutting a piece of the blanket and just sticking it in my pocket. And whenever I wanted that sense of love or feeling, I would sneak, you know, even in class or in the bathroom, and just rub it on my face. You know, because I wanted to feel loved, and I wanted that feeling that I didn't get any other ways. But when I was home, boy, that was me and my blanket. Yes, no whole bars. I carried that blanket around for me. And I want to tell you, I carried that blanket until I was over 40. So I want to say, until I was like 42 years. It wasn't the same blanket, let me be clear, because I don't want you to think I'm carrying around this nasty old blanket for 40 years. I would always, when it would get like, you know, tattered and it would all come apart, I knew enough to replace it with a blanket that would give me the same feeling. But yeah, and I would do that for years. And for some reason, when I got to 42 or 43, the desire to not have that blanket left. And that was strange, because I had accepted the fact that this is gonna be me and my blankie. And I even would go to, you know, my boyfriend's house, you know, pack clothes for the weekend, and in my bag was my blankie. At that point, when I was old, I was like, yes, this is me and my blankie coming over. And I had no shame about it at that point, because I accepted that was going to be a part of my life. But at 43, it just stopped. But now, even now at 53, I don't have that attachment to a blanket, but I still kind of sleep with like a throw, and it kind of gives me a little bit of feeling. And I don't know, I accept it. I'm okay with me and my blanket. So yeah, that was one of the ways that I tried to fill that hole in my soul, you know. And then there was other ways. You know, I then tried to fill that hole in my soul with relationships. And because I didn't feel good about myself, you know, I accepted any treatment, any bad treatment that I was given, I accepted it. Because in my mind, it's like, it's better to have you than have nobody at all. I could even remember through relationships and the short window when I ended one relationship to go to the next, that window was filled with such a horrible feeling of such anxiety, and I don't even know how to describe it. But it was a feeling that I said I had to get rid of this feeling, and the only way I knew at that time to get rid of that feeling is to jump in a relationship. And to the point where people asking me like, Natalie, the relationship, it didn't match. And people, as I got older, began to look at the outside, and they were like, you know, I've been even told, well, you can have any man you want. You can, why are you? But the thing they didn't understand was people were looking from the outside. You know, the hair and the makeup and all of that. They were looking at that. But when you're inside of your own body, you don't see your face. You just see inside of you. And what you're really operating out of your spirit of who you are. You don't see this, you know. So that's how I was operating. And inside of me, the enemy didn't feel worthy. So it was kind of like, you know, does anybody, somebody love me? Just love me, you know. And I got involved with drugs, and I got involved with alcohol because I wanted to be a part of, you know. And if that's what it took to be a part of, that's what I did. As insane as it was, it didn't matter the consequences of putting drugs in my body. It didn't matter the consequences of being in unhealthy relationships. domestic violence relationships. It didn't matter. All that mattered in my mind and my brokenness is that I needed to feel love, even if it was a false sense of love, even if it wasn't real. Because I knew a lot of times, I shouldn't be in this relationship. This is not what this is not it. This is not who I imagined walking down the aisle and getting married to. However, I kept thinking like, oh my God, being alone or being with somebody who wasn't even worthy. And being with someone, even though they weren't worthy, it was okay because I didn't feel worthy. And you attract people according to how you feel about yourself. And that's what I did for you.